Alright guys, I'm gonna make a quick highlight video here of some interesting hands from the first month of the bankroll challenge. First hand we have Ace-3 of hearts here against Dabadoo. We open it up, he calls, we see bet the flop, and he calls. At this point we think he has it like a draw. We don't expect him to slow play many good hands on his flop since it's very draw heavy and we have some history as well. On the turn I decide to go for a check raise just because I think his range is like so draw heavy and I think he's gonna stab a lot when I check. So we check and he bets 30 half pot, we raise it up to 102. Kinda like getting out of line here, but yeah, we had a strong feel that he was drawing, so I don't mind this. He clicks it back to 174, which is interesting. Still though, we don't really think he has that many strong hands. Like if he had a set or a straight on the flop, he would raise us. So it doesn't make a ton of sense, we think. Unless he has like queen jack of diamonds or something. So we call, and then on river he just jams. And we're gonna follow our read. We of course have to call now since we call the turn and diamonds doesn't get there. So we call and he has 6-7 of diamonds and we hold. So that was a nice result. Next hand here we have jacks in the small blind against Bloat, who's another regular and very aggressive. We have a lot of history with Bloat during the last month. We open it up and he defends. Flop is 4-4-6, so amazing flop for us. We're just gonna see bet pretty big. It's a flop he's gonna float us a lot on and try to make our life difficult, I think. So we bet pretty big. He calls, which he can do with a lot of hands, of course, like ace high, a 6, a flush draw, different things. We're gonna keep betting as we would with all our bluffs, since the king is a scare card for him, and he snap calls. So now we kind of think he has something right. We kind of think he has like a pair of 6s or maybe pocket 7s or something like that, you know. 5-7 got her on the river. But we're not super afraid of that. With his timing, we felt he had some showdown value. So we decided to go for a bet, just to get value from a 6, and he jams and we just snap him off here. We think he's going to be bluffing enough. Yeah, he shows 7-6 with a 7-5 blocker there. So good result. Next hand here, we have King 10 suited in the big. Everyone limps. We're gonna raise it up 6 big blinds, and a weaker player Lollipop calls. Perfect flop, of course, flopping the nuts, and a flush draw as well, just in case. So we see bet pretty big. He's very loose, and he snap calls. On a turn here, we go for 2/3, I think. I wouldn't mind an overbet on this board actually. Alright, we bet pretty big, 58 into 67. And we river a royal straight flush, which is nice. Against this player, I think jamming is just best because we can get value from so many different things. He's very loose and doesn't like to fold. So we jam and he calls with the ace-10, which is pretty bad, of course. Next hand we have Boa, legendary player on Unibet. He's very crazy. He keeps jamming pre-flop without any reason really. We've been playing a lot with him. So we have 6s here and we're almost 200 big blinds deep. I decide to call though since he can have literally anything here. And he shows up with 4-5 of clubs, and of course he manages to get there, which is kind of rough in a 1500 euro pot, but that's how it is. Few hands later we get pocket queens in the small blind against the same player, and we're just like praying that he's gonna shove again, because he keeps shoving pre-flop. And he does. So we're thrilled about this, of course, and we snap him off. He shows pocket 6s. And he manages to get a 6 on the river. So we lose that one as well. Not the best result, but that's how it goes. Next hand is the hand on the right here. Ace-8 offsuit in the big blind against Bloat. We're fairly deep at this point, almost 200 bigs. He min raises and the small blind calls, so we're gonna have to call as well. Don't mind that. We call and we flop top pair. Not crazy about our hand at this point, but it's definitely good enough against the Bloat's button range here. So he c-bets like half pot and the small blind folds, so we obviously call. don't see any reason to do anything else. Turn is the perfect card for us, the 8 of diamonds, giving us top 2. At this point against bloat, I think check raising for value makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of history, and I think we perceive each other as fairly aggressive players who can make moves. At least that's how I perceive him. So I make a decently sized check raise here to 102. Bloat thinks for a while and he calls. So at this point I think he has like usually either one of the 2 flush draws or just like ace king, ace queen, ace jack. River is not perfect, but we do have the ace of diamonds as a blocker to the nut flush here, so we're not like super afraid that he's gonna shove for value. So we make like a pretty big bet here, and we're planning to call him off just because there is so many bluffs he can have. He can turn ace jack into a bluff, he could have 2 hearts. So yeah, we're not loving this situation of course when he shoves this big, but having the ace of diamond as a blocker here, I think it's a fairly mandatory call, especially against this opponent. Against some people we would fold here, but not against bloat. So we call and he has the king queen for just a pure float on the turn. Last hand here we pick up pocket aces. We open under the gun. Very good table we have here. Montreal is very loose. And Dax 30, we didn't know too much about Dax 30 before this hand, but as you're gonna see, it's not the strongest player either. So make a huge 4-bet here, just because Montreal never folds pre-flop, that's our read at least, and we're pretty deep with him as well, so I want to make it big. Dax surprises us and calls out of position here, and now he only has a pot-sized bet left. We flop the nuts here, and I don't really see any point of jamming, and I don't like betting small either, so we just check and hope that he jams the turn, trying to rep the ace or something. He doesn't. He decides to go for a pretty weird bet, like, yeah, doesn't make too much sense. I don't really like jamming because I think he's mostly gonna have bluffs, so I just call and hope that he jams the river. And he does, and we snap him off, and he has the 9-10 of diamonds for a straight.